So, there's all these competing theories of what went wrong. And I think what it all comes down to is some bad science, like I called it. It's like these mistakes that we made, and it led to everything else. So I'll kind of start from the beginning is when you think that all calories are the same, and this is what we thought back in the day, you can make mistakes like the food pyramid. And there's more mistakes in the food pyramid if people research, we'll put it in the film, but how these dietary guidelines in the food pyramid got created, there was lobbying and special interests and grain and corn, and there was also money involved, like, oh, well, we can't afford to feed the food stamps program, for example. We need, what is in the guidelines will dictate the food stamps. We can't give fresh meat and produce to everyone, so we're going to have to backfill, well, the entire bottom of the pyramid with cheap stuff that we can get calories to people. So what I'm saying is we didn't have super good science on protein. Right now we know that protein has a higher thermic effect of the TEF, right? You burn more calories just digesting it. Protein is more bioavailable in general from animal foods, and it's just not like other calories, right? It's not like carbs and fat. People should know this by now. It seems like we didn't know this back then. We didn't do all the science. I mean, we've done tons of studies now. I mean, it's only in the past decade probably that we've started to control feeding studies for protein, right? Like you can't do a legitimate feeding study if you don't control from protein these days, because it would throw it off completely. You need to have both intervention groups with the same amount of protein. Then you can adjust carbs and fat, and you can look at, what's the difference and do all that other stuff. Have to control the protein. Didn't apparently know that back in the day. We also the main bad science was just demonizing cholesterol and saturated fat, the Ansel Keys story, that whole thing. So I won't get into all those details, but just the notion that saturated fat was bad screwed us. So if you think saturated fat is bad, so okay, well, we need other fats. And if you think all calories are the same, then you can make the food pyramid, right? Because you're like, okay, why not? So we need to give people 2,000 calories a day. So all calories are the same. Fat's bad. Okay, well, great. Let's just put the whole bottom, 6 to 11 servings of grains. That's cheap. We'll put meat up at the top. We're set. So it really starts with those two big errors. And then, of course, it opens the door to the food industry, right? When you're, oh, okay, fat's bad. And, the story's history from there. People kind of know this already. But yeah, I think it's important to know, though, where we went wrong and why it happened, and like that things have changed since then, and we know more about fat and calories and protein.